Microbes and human welfare. Food production by the industrial fermentation to produce yogurt, buttermilk, cheese, alcoholic beverages, vinegar and bread and pickles. These are all the food production by the microbes. Then antibiotic production, that is streptomycin, make aminoglycosides, antibiotics. These are also from the different microbes. So these are the microbes and the human welfare which they do provide to the human by the different ways. Then production of the enzymes like Taq polymerase and reporter genes for use in the yeast to hybrid system. So that is also the helpful to the human. Production of the amino acids by the Corynebacterium glutamicum, mainly L-glutamate, and the L-lysine, which is also used as the part of the medicine. Production of the biopolymerase like polysaccharides, polyesters, and polyamides, which are used in the different industries. So the microbes and the human welfare, you can see the different microbes that have got the good contributory effect towards the human welfare. Then food production, antibiotic production, amino acid production, as I have already told you, waste degradation. These are also done by the bacteria to have the welfare for a human. Then biosynthesis of the alginate, cellulose, hyaluronic acid, organic acids, oligosaccharides and the polysaccharides by the bacteria also help for the human welfare. Microbial biodegradation of the domestic, agriculture and industrial waste to just make it safe and to help to rule out the pollution. For example, waste mixture of the bacterial and the fungi species are used for the agriculture purpose. Symbiotic microbes that give benefit to the human and the animal host when they promote the health by helping the digestion and also produce certain vitamins and amino acids which suppress pathogenic microbes and help in the growth of the human. Now, treatment of the cancer, some non-pathogenic Clostridia bacteria can infiltrate and replicate within the solid tumor and to destroy them. Recycling of the carbon, nitrogen, and sulfur, so helping the photosynthesis in case of the plants. Energy production, methane or the natural gas, it is a product of the methanogenic microorganism capable of producing methane. Animal waste, domestic refuse, biomass, and the grain is converted into the biofuels such as ethanol by the microbes, and then it protects the plants. Genetically modified bacteria, these are pathogenic to the insects which are going to do harm to the plants. Then production of the useful products from the bioengineering like enzymes, antibiotics, vaccines, human insulin, interferon injection, and growth hormones. That is also by the different bacteria, the human microbiota and microbiome. A human body contains 37 trillion human cells and 100 trillion bacteria and other microbes. These are called microbiota. These are 3 times as the bacteria do have in our body to harm. So these are helpful. That the mass of the human microbiota is about 2.5 pounds. A microbiome is an entire collection of the genes found in all the microbe, help in the digestion of the many foods, regulates metabolic pathways, and regulates body's immune defenses. That is all the good point of the microbe. Now, one can compare the size of the virus, bacterium, and the human cell. As one can see, this is an animal cell, the nucleus of animal cell, and one can see the size of the bacteria which can live inside the human or the plant cell, and then virus which is of that so small size that it can live inside the bacterium. So one can compare the size of the different microbes. If you are depressed, you are living in the past. But if you are anxious, you are living in the future. But if you are at peace, you are living in the present time. So try to be in peace, to live in the present time. Now, the pathogens which infect the different body system of the human being, these are that urinary tract infection is about 40%, then surgical site is 19%, respiratory sites that is infected about 15%, then meningitis and gastroenteritis that is about 12%, skin is invaded by the microbe 8%, and septicemia, that is the infection have gone into the blood, is 6%. Now, there are 9 routes of the infection in which the body get the entry of these microbes. One is the respiratory droplets, when a person coughs, sneeze, airborne droplets in case of the flu, cold, throat infection that goes to the other people respiratory tract. Fomites, these are the inanimate objects around the patient, that clothing, bed sheets, these are contaminated needles. These are all also responsible for spreading the infection. Direct body contact, person to person contact, as in case of the sexually transmitted diseases, that is by having the sex with the other people and to convey the infection to that. Then fecal-oral, feces contaminate the food, water, dirty hands, causing the diarrhea and the typhoid. That is one of the very common source of spread of infection. Arthropod vectors like the flies, fleas, mosquito, ticks, and they are responsible for spreading the disease like malaria and the dengue. Now one can see the route of infection, respiratory droplet. A person coughing, sneezing, have the large respiratory droplet and it can reach up to the 6 feet. And the person who is just here within the 6 feet, if that is taking breath in that, and he is or she is going to have that droplets which contain the microbe. Similarly, the fomites, as one can see, the different things which come in contact to the patient, these are all having the infection contaminated, so these are called fomites. Routes of the other infection are the direct body contact, that one can see the disease transmission pathways. Direct transmission requires physical contact with an infected person, as one can see the kissing or coming so close to one another can cause the problem. Then direct contact includes sexual contact, oral secretions, blood or the contact with the body's secretions or the liens. Then one can have the cold, flu, HIV, streptococcus bacteria, hepatitis A by the direct contact with the person who is having already. Then there is indirect contact, food or airborne and vector-borne problems. Other is fecal-oral, as one can see, the feces can contaminate the water and the food which can be taken. The arthropod, as one can see, the flies, the insects which do carry and transport the infection to the. Then airborne, particles suspended in the air, dry, dust, TB, anthrax, spores, respiratory fungi infection, in which the airborne infection where the person do take the breathing and can have. Parenteral, it is the direct transmission via the blood, HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and that is through the needles and by the injection or the other way. So it is called parenteral, which is beyond having food or water, that is called parenteral. Deep wound trauma, gas gangrene and tetanus, wound botulism, wound contaminated with the different bacteria, and horizontal transmission is from the mother to the infant, and prenatal across placenta, HIV, perinatal at birth, and STD like gonorrhea and syphilis, prenatal before birth, and perinatal at the time of the birth, that can be having the different infection. Now, airborne, as one can see, and the parenteral, as one can see, that is the way of getting the infection. Then deep wound, that is laceration and wound contaminated, and horizontal from the mother to the child, that is through the blood, can be through the placenta, that is called. If you do see this horse, it is really the very beautiful painting in which the painter have given the impression of the horse grazing, and it's really remarkable. Then the bacteria, if you come to know, now we are able to say that these are the prokaryotes. They have got no nucleus, no nuclear membrane, 1 to 3 micrometer in size, have 70S ribosome in their cytoplasm. They have got peptidoglycan, that is a unique complex cell wall, absent membrane bound organelle like Golgi complex, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, may have external capsule, flagella, and pili. Their reproduction is asexual by the binary fission. One cell divides into two, and they are gram positive and gram negative according to their staining retention if they are put on gram stain. Here one can see the different parts of the bacteria. This is the flagella and cytoplasm and the pili, the ribosomes, and the different capsule and the cell wall. Now, viruses, these are acellular. They are obligate intracellular parasite, means they have to live inside the cell for their survival. Otherwise, they can't survive. They consist of DNA or RNA core. Core is surrounded by a protein coat called capsid, which is the virion. Virion may be enclosed in the lipid envelope. No metabolism, no respiration, cannot move, cannot eat until unless they have to be living on some other organism. So that is why they are called obligate intracellular pathogen. No protein or energy senses independently, but they use the system of the host, replicate only when in a living host cell. So one can see the virus structure, protein code, DNA or RNA, enzyme, nucleocapsid, envelope, and the spikes. These are the different parts of the virus structure. Now the fungi, these are eukaryote because they have got the nucleus and nuclear membrane, mitochondria, and the ribosomes there. The unique thing about them is they have got the chitin cell walls. Yeast are unicellular, molds and the mushrooms are the multicellular. That is the type of the fungi. They can reproduce sexually or asexually. They use organic chemicals for their energy. And typical fungal cell, as one can see, they have got the nucleus, cell wall, cell membrane, mitochondria, organelle, vacuole, and the cytoplasm. So these are the eukaryotic cells. As you can see, their way of reproduction, they just release a bud which detach from the mother cell and they are able to live. The relationship between the husband and the wife is very psychological. One is psycho and the other is logical. Who is logical? That you have to probe in whole of your married life. Now the parasites, these are the eukaryotes, protozoa, single cells, metazoa, multicell, As you have heard, the roundworm and the pinworm, they are larger, more complex organisms than the bacteria, live like the animals. They have got the asexual mostly, and the sexual reproduction transmitted via the fecal-oral route, arthropod via the insects, vectors, or via the intermediate host. They are motile by means of the pseudopods, which are the legs of these parasites, cilia or the flagella. As the example is the worm, one do have the roundworm, pinworm, and hookworm. That is the parasite. As one can see the amoeba and the roundworm, and then prion particles. These are the newly discovered things. Neither bacteria nor viruses. They are infectious, self-replicating protein particles. They cause a fatal degenerative neurological disease, which includes scrapie in sheep, bovine, spongiform and cephalopathy (BSE) in cattle, kuro in humans. Then C J.D. Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, affecting mainly the elderly people, and new variant affecting the younger people. These are infectious particles capable of causing the infections. Their inflammatory cells are absent, and there is no antibody response in case of the prion particle. They are resistant to the heat and some chemical agents, so cannot be killed, inactivated only by the hypochlorite and by the autoclaving at 134 degrees centigrade for 18 minutes. So these are the prion particles, and that is the end. If you have liked this video, please subscribe it and share it with others. If you don't like and you have any question or query, please feel free to contact me at my numbers, which are just there. And the last, I am thankful to you for watching.